Thank you. Yeah, so my name's Matt. For those of you who don't know, I've been working on Bitcoin for almost 15 years. That makes me the 10th known Bitcoin developer. And I've probably written more open source Bitcoin code than almost anyone, maybe one or two others. So blockchains don't scale. For most of you, this shouldn't be a surprise to hear this, but for some of you maybe who aren't around, haven't spent a lot of time in Bitcoin, this might be interesting, but it doesn't really take a technologist to understand this concept. It's really pretty straightforward. Blockchains fundamentally operate by taking every transaction that anyone does in the world and copying it to every computer involved in the network. This should sound kind of funky to you just intuitively, right? You can't take Visa and copy every transaction that happens in Visa onto every computer of every merchant who is processing payments for Visa. That simply doesn't work. And that is how blockchains work, and they don't scale for obvious reasons. So this, of course, results in most of the Bitcoin technical community and blockchain technical community focusing on scalability technologies. After all, the point of Bitcoin is to have money without intermediaries, and if these things don't scale, then people will simply resort to using custodial services, which would defeat the whole point. So instead, we have to add layers. Computer science fundamentally scales in layers. Not everything on your computer is one program. You have your operating system underneath, you have fundamental libraries that every application uses, and then people build applications on top. The same is true in blockchains. But all of these ancillary layers, all of these layer 2s that provide scalability require ancillary services in one form or another. In many cases, decentralized networks, in other cases, not. These ancillary services are not financial intermediaries in the traditional sense. They can't seize or freeze assets, but are simply helping non-custodial wallets do their thing. Just how layer 1s need mining, staking, need miners, layer 2s have other ancillary services attached to them. And without these ancillary services and without these layer 2 technologies, blockchains don't scale, nor does Bitcoin or any other chain. This is not just a Bitcoin issue. This isn't because of some limitation of Bitcoin. No blockchain scales. But very importantly, if these ancillary services can't serve Americans, if they have to geo-block Americans, then Americans won't have access to non-custodial wallets. All of these Americans who want to use cryptocurrency, and you've heard a lot about different studies showing lots of Americans do use cryptocurrency and want to use cryptocurrency, all of a sudden, they're stuck using custodial services because they want to find the best user experience. They want to hold their Bitcoin in a wallet that just works and they don't have to think about. And those wallets are the sketchy custodial services that don't require KYC. They're not regulated entities where they have to KYC to onboard. That's a bad user experience. No one wants to use those. Instead, they use custodial services that are going to end up taking their money. Just wait until North Korea operates custodial services just to take people's money. So instead, we have to make sure that these ancillary services that need to exist for non-custodial layer 2s to be able to serve Americans can exist in America, and that means they have to not be unduly regulated. They're not financial intermediaries. They can't seize assets. They can't freeze assets, and so they shouldn't be regulated like them. Now, under the Biden administration, we saw the DOJ come after privacy services, but using arguments that cover all non-custodial ancillary services in a way that would prevent anyone from operating in layer 2 or joining a public peer-to-peer network as a layer 2 node operator where Americans are using the product. This is unacceptable. This means that Americans will use custodial services and get rugged, right? Even worse, though, not just what these ancillary services can serve Americans, but also developers have to be able to build these things. These things are hard. I've been working on this for 15 years and we're still not there yet. We're getting there, but we're still not there yet. It is hard to build non-custodial layer 2s on Bitcoin or on any cryptocurrency. And so if developers can't build and operate these ancillary services either, then they simply won't exist. It turns out many of the developers are in America. We have great, brilliant people here who want to build all these great technologies to enable normal Americans to have great access to Bitcoin in a non-custodial way where they're not trusting anyone, but they have to be able to do it here. And for that reason, we need regulatory clarity around who is and isn't a money services business, and specifically that entities that aren't able to seize, freeze, or touch anyone's asset, that are just providing a service, are not money services business. And for that reason, we need the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. And if we don't, all of our wallets are just going to be custodial, and we're all going to get rugged. Thank you.